How do you talk to your elected representatives, if at all? In this Jedi Futures interview on Terrified Nation, I time travel with legendary advocate Sam Daley-Harris. He's the founder of Results and Civic Courage, and we look into his preferred future. We explore the practices that move people from cynicism to action, and why transformational advocacy, as he calls it, is an antidote to fear. If you're ready to feel powerful again, then press play or keep on listening. And then spend 5 minutes a day imagining the future you actually want. Listen now on Terrified Nation.
If you've ever felt fear, doubt, or despair about the future of our country, you're not alone. Terrified Nation is a podcast for those ready to face hard truths with open hearts. Hosted by Debilyn Molineaux. Each episode explores how we can move beyond division and build a society rooted in care, courage, and connection. If this resonates with you, hit follow and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Now here's your host, Debilyn Molineaux.
Welcome back to Terrified Nation. I'm your host, Debilyn Molineaux, and we're diving into the big emotions, fear, anger, despair, and learning how to manage them so we don't get stuck in survival mode. And today is a Jedi Futures episode. Now, Jedi stands for justice, equity, dignity, and inclusion. And it's a way to remind ourselves of what's really important in life. We start by asking ourselves about what do we really want? Not as consumers, but as humans. And we interview guests who have gone from being angry, afraid, or hopeless to become advocates for our nation, to live into the promise of our founders, each person dedicating themselves to a better future for all of us. And I like to start each show with a question that we'll explore together with today's guest. And today's question is, how do you communicate with your elected representatives? Or do you even think about it at all? Well, today we're talking with Sam Daley-Harris about his preferred future, because this imagining is an antidote to being afraid or angry, and because it gives us something to hope for. Now, Sam Daley-Harris founded the anti-poverty lobby Results, it's called, in 1980. And he co-founded the Microcredit Summit Campaign in 1995. And I bet we have some mutual friends there. And in 2012, he founded Civic Courage. And that's the organization he'll share a little bit more about later on. The paperback edition of his 1994 book, Reclaiming Our Democracy, Every Citizen's Guide to Transformational Advocacy, was released in January of this year, 2025. And Kirkus Reviews wrote, his call to democratic participation is inspiring. A handbook for aspiring activists that readers will find both inspiring and practical. Sam has been interviewed on NPR's Here and Now and on PBS's Laura Flanders and Friends. Sam, welcome to the Terrified Nation podcast.
It's great to be with you.
So one of the things that we're doing here today is not your typical podcast interview. We're actually going to have you participate in a research project about imagining a future we want for ourselves. And as we go through this, I just want to remind you, and you might need a couple reminders later on, that we are asking about your preferred life, not what you think is likely or probable. And there's little bit of a difference there. So this is like name it and claim it. And to see your preferred future, we're actually going to do some time travel. And it's going to be within your current life, but we want to go somewhere 2 to 20 years into your future. What sounds right for you?
Okay, well, I'm 78 right now. So although my mom made it just to 101, let's go to 5 years out.
5 years.
83 and still working with a smile on my face. So 5 years out.
5 years out. And I know several very active, passionate octogenarians who are still doing this work. So it's a really doable goal. Okay. Really doable. All right. So 5 years out, we're going to 2030. And we're going to climb into the Zoom time machine right now. And just go ahead and take a few deep breaths as our time machine whisks us away into 2030. And when we get there, you're going to stay your current self, but you're going to observe and look at your 83-year-old self. You got it?
Yep.
All right, this is a short trip. So here we are pulling into the 2030 station. Bing! And as we step out of the Zoom time machine onto the platform, let's start with a really basic question. Where are we in 2030?
Well, we're mostly at my home in Princeton, New Jersey, and a wonderful garden in the backyard. It's not a gigantic one, but it's a beautiful garden. And also in the winter months, in January, February, and March, we're staying in an apartment on the Atlantic Ocean in South Florida. Because I was born in Miami and never saw falling snow until I was 25 years old. So I'm not exactly a winter guy. So we are in South Florida in the winter, and we are here in Princeton
All right.
year.
So tell me, as you're observing your 83-year-old self, what is it that you are most proud of?
Well, I'm going to say two things in particular. One is my kids. Let me think. They'll be 32 and 29. And my daughter, 29, is a therapist. And her clients are 3 to 10 years old, mostly play therapy. And there's some teens and young adults. And my son is with the Arizona Diamondbacks. By then, it'll be for 11 years doing analytics and player development, Moneyball, with the baseball team. And so I'm very proud of who they are as people. And also who the people have become. I'm proud of the way I've worked with others to provide a structure of support that allows citizens to thrive, citizens to be clear about the difference they make, rather than the old, I can't make a difference. I'm proud of the work that's allowed tens and tens and tens of thousands to awaken to their power.
That is really beautiful. And there were so many rabbit trails I want to follow with you there, but let's come back to that in a
Yeah.
minute, towards the end of the interview, because how I want to walk through a typical day with you. And so you might
Yeah.
pick Princeton, let's like just pick
Right.
one of your locations.
Okay.
And let's walk through a typical day. How will you spend your time?
Well, here's what I'll be doing. One part of the day will be coaching nonprofits that want to engage their citizens, their members more deeply. I'll be coaching nonprofits. These will be cohorts, groups of them, maybe 5 or 10 or more, who already are doing this work, but it's easy to pull back. It's easy to become afraid of making big asks of your volunteers. So I'll be coaching two kinds of cohorts, the newbies and then the kind of a little bit of engine repair group who come back for some deepening of their work. And
Is this
another
some fine
thing,
tuning?
yes, exactly. And another thing I'll be doing is I'll be doing interviews with people like you and others so that more and more people can learn about my particular work. We'll get into later, transformational advocacy. And so there'll be a lot of work with interviews like this and also talks, like just
So I
speaking.
want to get a little bit more personal because this is very professional focused on how you're spending
Yes.
your time. So tell me, like, what do you do when you wake up in the morning?
What
Like,
do I
walk me through
do?
your morning routine. Let's make it
Yeah.
very concrete.
Well, the thing that I do right now, and in 5 years, I intend to be doing it also, is kind of an online hypnosis kind of meditative slash hypnosis kind of activity, which involves a lot of deep breathing and the like. And then I'll usually do a very short little series of kind of a New York Times 7-minute exercise regimen. And
Is that the happiness one?
I don't know the name of it, but it's just
Okay.
a certain set of exercises. And in 5 years, I'll have been a vegetarian for 40 years by then. And
Wow.
so I will proceed with whatever my vegetarian breakfast will be. And so, yeah, 5 years from now, I mean, I'm enjoying my smoothies in the morning, and I think 5 years from now, I'll be there too.
Mm. So you're going to get up and you're going to go through kind of your self-care, reflective
Yes,
activities, your healthy food. You're
yes,
going to work with your coaching clients and your cohorts. How do you end and you do in your interviews? Don't forget the interviews.
yeah.
And then how do you end your day?
How do I end my day? Usually, I now in 5 years. Um, I usually work hard in the day and then I kind of let go at night. I'll be watching uh, Stephen Colbert's Back on Air 5 years from now. And
Okay. All right.
I particularly like, sometimes I watch it in the morning on videos, but Jimmy Kimmel, I've just, that sustains me, that humorous look at where we are, the
The
craziness
absurdity,
through
right?
the craziness through a humor lens, and
Yes.
so yeah, I'm good with that kind of thing.
And what do you do for dinner?
Dinner, well, my wife and I are both vegetarians, so we enjoy our sorry vegetarian meals.
Hmm.
Sheet pan dinners of veggies and the like. And we have a favorite Trader Joe's French cheese in their baguette that you put in the oven. And we love to do that when we eat our dinner.
I think I'm going to have that for lunch today. Well, kind of moving on to the next question, I want you to think about like your emotional body
Mm.
and you're observing your 83 old self, your
Yeah.
5 year older self. How
Yeah.
will you feel most of the time?
I will feel that there are two things. One is gratitude. And then the feeling of my body is gratitude, actually, again, in terms of its vitality. And it's kind of on my side. Uh, and so I've taken care of it, and it is taking care of me.
And uh, it sounds like you're fairly content, satisfied.
Hmm.
I hear grateful, but I want to dig a little deeper. What else do you feel?
Yeah. Um, well, I think, grateful and vibrant, uh,
Okay.
lit up, uh, encouraged. Uh, now in 5 years from now, I have my attention a lot on what's working, and I have my attention on looking for inspiration, seeking it out, and not like blinders to negativity, but volitionally seeking out inspiration. And so I do that 5 years from now, and I have my latest story of that's inspired me, as I have back 5 years earlier. Right now, my latest stories that inspire me.
I love that. One of the things we talk about here on Terrified Nation is really paying attention to what you focus on most of the time.
Mhm.
And so focusing on an inspiring story is so critical
Mhm.
to us getting out of the mess we're in right now.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, like, as you observe your 5 year older self again, what can you identify as your 3 to 5? It's a random number,
Yeah.
but the priority values or qualities that you live by.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to give you the first two, and then I'm going to tell you where they come from.
Okay.
One is service, and the other is kindness. And you, in a previous interview, you were mentioning Ram Dass in a documentary you'd seen. And a long time ago, I used to own 76 hours of Ram Dass tapes. This is in the 70s. But the point is, he would say that his guru would say three things: love everyone, serve everyone, and remember God. Love, serve, remember God. And that's very close to the biblical prophet Micah. I'm Jewish. And in Micah 6:8 is, you know what is good and what God requires of you, only to do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with your God, which is really very similar to the serve and the justice and the love kindness and love everyone, and then walk humbly is also very close to remember God. So service as a value,
Hmm.
kindness as a value. And I don't know if I can squeak this in as a value, but one of my values is breakthroughs. I
Mm.
value kind of going for it. I
Okay.
value going through a comfort zone. Uh, so service,
Most people would call that courage, Sam.
okay, courage. I'll go for courage. Service, kindness, and courage.
Okay.
Good.
Wonderful. So we're going to widen the lens a little bit here, and we're going to
Right?
think about the community in which you're living
Mm-hmm.
in Princeton and Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that community that supports your future at 83 need to include or provide so that your future is possible?
If I might, I'm going to widen it even further. Then
Okay.
you'll pull me back because my community is like the nation. My community, I am so in touch with so many places in the I'm talking right now, but the talk I did 2 weeks in Denver, the talk I did last week by Zoom in Asheville, the talk I'll do next week in Pennsylvania. I'm so kind of community focused nationally
Hmm.
that I would like to let that be my community if I could for right now. And
So I'll let you go there, but I'm going to come back and do more
okay,
local.
yeah, okay. So, and just my community, and state the question again. I'm looking
So what
for,
does the community that supports your future need to
right.
include or provide?
Yeah, well, my community is a community that says yes, that raises their hand and says, I'm in. The community is a player. The community doesn't get dragged down by cynicism. The community is engaged. The community cares. I mean, kindness is a community value, and so is service, and so is courage. And so that's what I look for in my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I get to this question, part of why I want to help localize this question too is because many of us who work in this national frame and we have networks across the nation, we're actually disconnected from our local community. Where if everything goes to hell, who are the people that we're going to need to rely upon? And it's our local community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is part of why having local connections, and I include myself in this, like I don't know my neighbors. I've made a couple of attempts. It hasn't gone well.
Okay.
But I'm just thinking like, so what does your local community where you live
Yeah.
need to include or provide to support, the life that you're living in 5 years?
I do live in a walkable community 5 years from now, and uh, the the pho restaurant that opened 5 years ago is still open. I've been there twice in their first week because I love the
I
Japanese.
love pho.
Yeah, and healthcare is vital to me and important to our community. Yeah, and paying more attention to the concert opportunities at Princeton University, a mile and a half away, or the lecture opportunities at my library, the bookstore, and the university. all of which are a mile or a mile and a half away. So, I'm very fortunate to be in a university community, a small one, frankly, compared to DC or anything, uh, where I could walk to any of these events that are put on.
Yeah. Well, and I love that vision of this mix of both the intellectual and spiritual needs being met along with your physical needs,
Yeah.
right? That's what I'm hearing from you.
Yeah.
Um, this is where this last question is where I really want you to talk at length about your work because it is so critical for citizens to be empowered in this way. And this last question, I modified it for you. Is there anything that you can do today or in the near future to influence or co-create the community that's going to support you in 2030?
Yes. So let me just say, over the last 19 months, I've done 113 in-person or Zoom talks. And so I'm kind of on that trajectory. And so, when I do a podcast like this, I always urge the host to put my sign-up sheet in the program notes so folks can let me know they'd like to be connected to
Of
one of the
course.
groups that works to deliver transformational advocacy, or let me know they have a speaking possibility. So I always do that. So I've done 113 talks in person or Zoom in the last 19 months. In the last 4 weeks, I've done 13 radio interviews or Zoom talks. Uh, I I've pitched myself a lot, which might seem like an egotistical thing to do, but I just experience so much pain out in the world, and that this transformational advocacy is one, not the only one, uh, antidote to that
Right.
pain.
Well,
And
what I'm hearing is that you are continuing, your 45-year now career in
yeah,
empowering citizens to remind them that they have a sacred role to play in sustaining or rebuilding democracy, depending on where you think we are right now.
mhm,
And the sacred role of citizen is the work that you do,
yeah,
is
yeah,
empowering people to reclaim that.
yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, if I could tell this story that a lot of times I'm asked, you first had this book published 30 years ago plus. Why did you update it and re-release it now? And I did this interview last year on an NPR program called 1A. And I was
I
so
know it. I
blown.
listen to it all the time.
Okay, great. So I was so blown away by how vulnerable the host was, Todd
Yeah.
Zwillick. And question number two, and if I could just tell you the question, he said, the nature of our politics today, you can feel beat down by it. I mean, this is my career, and I feel beat down by it. I don't participate the same way others do because I'm a political journalist, but I do have to pay attention. It's a grind. It's a grind, Sam. I mean, I know you know that. What am I feeling? What is the way out of that? I was so moved that he was on a national radio
Right.
program, that he was so vulnerable. The first thing I said, because he spoke for everyone and
Yeah.
spoke to why I wanted this book back out. I said, Apollo astronaut Rusty Schweickart said, we aren't passengers on Spaceship Earth, we're the crew. Well, are we? And if we're crew, how does crew operate? And the second thing I said was futurist and climate activist Alex Steffen said, in fact, these days, cynicism is obedience. I said, well, yeah, if I'm cynical, I'm obedient to the way things are. I'm not going to do anything about it. Why would I if nothing I do makes a difference? But it's into that discouragement that I want opportunities to speak and point people to structures of support that can be their guide. And
Mm. Well, I think it sounds like where I get on this podcast and I talk about, fear is the point. And this is how they keep us compliant and obedient. And in order to break out, you have to take action. You have to figure out what you want and you have to take action, right? Mm-hmm. So I am in awe of your work and your dedication of service to the American people and to people around the world, I'm sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any last words you'll have a little second to do a thank you in a minute, but
yes.
Any last things you want to get in here to encourage people to find you and your work? And we will, of course, add you to the show notes.
In the program notes, we'll have this sign-up sheet, but even if you don't get the program notes, reclaimingourdemocracy.com has get involved and learn more. And that's where the sign-up sheet is, right on the homepage. And at reclaimingourdemocracy.com, you can find a way to connect to me and let me know you'd like to be connected with one of these groups, that you'd like to, you have a speaking possibility that you'd like me to know about. And yeah, that'd be great.
We will definitely put your sign-up sheet in the show notes here. In the meantime, I want to end this interview with an invitation for you and for all the listeners of Terrified Nation. And it sounds like you're already doing this, Sam, but for listeners out there, the invitation is to think about what you really want for your future life, and then spend 5 minutes every day, thinking about your future self, feeling the feelings, and drop in a sense of awe and wonder. And this gets back to the neuroscience. The research is now showing that we will subconsciously create that which we focus on. So we have a choice. We can co-create the future we want, or we can choose from those dystopian options that are presented to us. I want to choose the future I want. And if you would like to participate in this national research project or just use this personal visioning tool yourself, visit JediFutures.org. Thank you, Sam Daley-Harris, for sharing your preferred future with Terrified Nation, and for your work empowering citizens to both know what they want, like the personal visioning tool, and then lobby their elected representatives to nudge them to do their job. Democracy doesn't happen on accident. So thank you, Sam, for all of your inspiring work.
It's been an honor. Thanks so much.
All right. And in closing today's show, I want to thank you, the listeners, for giving a damn about our nation. We may be a terrified nation today, but we can do better. We can save the USA. Join me next time.
That's Terrified Nation, a podcast from American Future. If this episode moved you, please help others find it. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. For early access to new episodes, become a paid subscriber at terrifiednation.com. Join us next time.